Guys, how's everyone doing? So we're going to talk about the Tony Dodge Xanamay drama that's going on. But first, let's just touch on the rumor that Jagger is living with Kylie's parents. If that's true, I don't even know what to say. I really do not know what to say. This was her ex-boyfriend, not her heartbroken boyfriend or fiance. This is her ex-boyfriend. Kylie didn't even want him, so why do you? Now, they say they had an amicable relationship, it even went on a few dates here and there, but Kylie did not want him to be her boyfriend. She broke up with them, and I'm assuming she broke up with him and not vice versa based on his mushy I love you posts all the time. So my thought is, if your daughter did not want him as a boyfriend, why do you want him as a roommate? I don't understand. You are off in this, remote isolated lodge living with this kid, this boy that was Kylie's ex-boyfriend. It is just too much. Like, I don't even know what to say. You guys say it. Comment on it. Tell me what you think, because honestly, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. I don't know what to say on it. I mean, I felt like I had to address it, but I really don't know what to even say about it. It's too crazy. It's just too crazy. So let's talk about the Xanamay and Tony Dodge drama. Now, you may have heard about it. I had a hard time even following in the beginning, what all was the problem. So I kind of looked into it and I tried to break it down, and I'm going to simplify it as much as I can. So Tony Dodge, who runs the channel American Dream Chasers, was accused basically of being part of this big conspiracy having to do with the Kiely Rodney case. And so was Xanamay. And Xanamay also has a YouTube channel. We're going to talk about hers in a minute. And the conspiracies have grown. I mean, they are pretty wild. Everything from their direct involvement in her missing to them basically being the key players who are supposed to distract us, from what's really going on. I'm telling you. So Tony, one of the things that was mentioned was that Tony came out of nowhere, that he was not a big YouTuber, and people thought it was pretty suspicious that he landed this exclusive interview with Sammy Smith. Then they brought up the fact that he was in Truckee at some point during all of this Kiely Rodney thing, and also what his connection may have been to Xanamay. So the very first thing that people were saying was, isn't it strange that this YouTuber that was pretty much not well known, who didn't focus on true crime, suddenly was so focused on the Kiely Rodney case to the point that he even got this interview with Sammy Smith, when all of these huge YouTubers that, have been doing true crime for a long time certainly did not nail that interview. So I went back and I looked at his channel. Now, one of the things I'm going to say is he didn't just come out of nowhere. Tony's been around, and Tony has a lot of videos on his channel that certainly predate the Kiely Rodney case. And people have said, well, he never did true crime before. That's not entirely true. He definitely had an array of topics on his channel. Everything from finances to politics, you name it. But he did, in the mix of all of those kind of videos, have missing persons cases and other crime cases. So it is not true. I can tell you it is not true that he never followed or did videos on true crime before. He didn't make it the focus of his channel, but he certainly did cover these type of cases before. Now, how he got that exclusive interview with Sammy Smith, I have absolutely no idea. Maybe he just got lucky. Maybe he was just the first to ask. And at that point, after that interview was scrutinized so bad, maybe Sammy just decided not to do any other videos. I mean, it could just be as simple as that. Maybe, had that video not been unmercifully, picked apart on YouTube, maybe she would have been doing interviews with everybody, So we can kind of squash that. And that's easy to verify. You can go on his channel, you can go to videos, and you can look pretty far back and you'll see that there was similar content previously. Now, his numbers on his channel before the Kiely story obviously were much lower, but that happens. People that become talked about on YouTube, everyone's going to run to their channels, just like Check It TV, who, had very few subscribers. All of a sudden, his channel blew up. Like, that's just going to happen. People get curious and they go and they try to, subscribe and look at all your content. So before Kiely Rodney, the numbers on his videos were a lot like mine. He was just an organically growing channel. So one video may have 1,000, 2,000 views, and another video may have only, 100 or, 200. So that's how his numbers looked before. So he was not huge, but he was definitely an active YouTuber. He had a lot of content. I can't say the same for Xanamay. Xanamay, it is true, only does have 15 videos as of right now on her YouTube channel. And she definitely was not, in my opinion, an up-and-coming YouTuber prior to this. So the content on her YouTube channel, for the most part, was Ukraine and military type videos. Again, there was only 15 videos. And then that one weird Prosser video. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But as far as her channel, again, people said, well, she just literally came out of nowhere for the Kiely Rodney situation. That's not true. She was there. She just didn't seem to be a YouTuber in the context that we're talking about, somebody who's actively making videos and trying to grow a channel. And that is not weird, by the way, because pretty much a lot of my subscribers, if I were to go to my subscribers and look through to, to their channels, yes, some are other YouTubers that are, again, actively growing channels, however, or already grown channels. However, the majority are viewers who have a YouTube, because you can't even comment on a video unless you are logged into your own account. But the majority of them only have, a couple of videos. And sometimes that's just because people may just have a few videos of their pets or their kids or, whatever. Maybe they are just sharing them within their own circle of friends and family, or they just make a video that they happen to think is so funny of their cat or something, and they put it on YouTube hoping people will see it and, also think it's super cute and funny. But they're not trying to become YouTubers. So that is kind of, I think, at this moment, kind of what Xanamay's channel looked like, was that she just had a few videos of herself, of kind of military stuff, and a couple of things about the Ukraine that looks like she's very passionate about on her channel prior to all of this. What her connection is to Tony Dodge is anybody's guess. There's a rumor that Tony was in a group where you actively seek women from the Ukraine. I don't know if that's true. And whatever, you know what I mean? If he did, he did. And if that's how we met her, that's how we met her, I don't know. But here's where it gets weird. So Xanamay, again, with her military videos, has this one video where she's like kayaking over, Prosser Lake. And she literally stops almost right to the spot where Kiely was found, but the video was before Kiely was found. And if that's not bad enough, now people have blown up, screenshotted and blown up videos, and they say that in the sand there's actually an arrow that points to that spot as if to show her where, she should launch from. I don't know. So is it coincidence that this random woman just happened to make this random video at Prosser and stop in that location? That's a hell of a coincidence if that's true. I just don't know. I just don't know if I'm ready to dive, head first into this big conspiracy, but I will admit it has huge potential to be something. It kind of screams pay attention. It's very strange. It's very strange. It's not like she had a channel where she was always out at lakes and rivers and doing, all of this outdoor adventure stuff. And she just happened to go to that lake, and then, wow, what a coincidence and how unfortunate, because now everybody thinks you're involved. No, she had no other videos like that. She really didn't. You can go to her channel. So that is very strange. Now, she has been accused, I think, by Ryan Upchurch, but I'm not 100% sure. She has been accused of not really being connected to the military and just faking it. Now, from what I could gather, from what I could kind of dig around and see, I do think she does truly have military connections. She also appears to be very educated. She doesn't come off that way. And I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be mean. She doesn't really come off that way. If you watch her being interviewed on these channels, she doesn't seem well-spoken. She doesn't seem confident when she's speaking. To be connected to future leaders of tomorrow and all of these other things that she's connected with, trying to rise up in the political setting, it's very strange that she kind of comes off very just kind of young and immature and not well spoken, and almost like, not, I don't want to say confused, but as though she can't gather her thoughts a lot of the time when she's speaking. But things blow up pretty quick with her in terms of people speculating on her and kind of coming after her on some of these YouTube channels. So maybe that's just as simple as, it was more than she bargained for. You know what I mean? That maybe she just got really overwhelmed having people, firing these kind of accusations at her. So that could be the explanation for her demeanor, because she does seem as though she does have really good credentials, very, educated and possibly very connected to important people, or at least in the rising to that point. So that's what makes people a little uncomfortable about her too, because you have somebody who may have some political connections and military connections, and she randomly is in the Kiely Rodney case, oddly, as though she just doesn't fit into the story. And yet there she is, kayaking over the car. You know what I mean? Because at that point, the car hadn't been found. What her connection is to Tony Dodge, I don't know. But certainly, they do seem to have some kind of connection. He was in Truckee, and people brought that up and made a really big thing about that. But he appears to have been, or at least confirmed to have been in Truckee after the party. So after Kiely was worldwide known to be missing. So if he was there, I'm not sure that that's a huge red flag, because YouTubers are known, boots on the ground, you know what I mean, to go to places when stories break and to try to dig their own information. I mean, I certainly would do it if I didn't have a husband who, is in law enforcement, works 9,000 hours a week, and didn't have 3 boys that, still at home that I need to take care of. Sure, I'd love to be boots on the ground. I'd love to be traveling everywhere and, seeing the location for myself, because there's something about being in a location that I think is very different than trying to research it from home. Just getting the energy from it and, a sense of the town, the people, the area. I'd love to do that. So I'm not weirded out that he went to Truckee. Um, it appears to be after. We already knew she was missing. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. One of the allegations, or I'm not going to call it an allegation so much as maybe a conspiracy brought up by Dolly Vision, was that Tony and Xanamay are either, well, a lot of people have suggested that they are directly involved in Kiely missing. I don't believe that. But Dolly Vision brought up that they could be a distraction. So basically, that Xanamay was thrown in there, since she may know important people, to shake things up, get the focus on her and the focus off of the other people that may be involved. And of course, in saying that, that would be suggesting that there may be people involved who may be the children of very important people. And that's not the first time that we've heard something similar to that, because there have been allegations that maybe some of the city officials, law enforcement and whatnot, may have had children who attended this party. They may be involved. If there's drugs involved, and if that's how this all came about. Kiely becoming unalive. So I don't know. That's going pretty far. I would imagine if you were city officials, politicians, and law enforcement, there would be an easier way, I would think, to throw some money around or do whatever you have to do to keep your kid's name out of it, rather than find a random woman, and throw her in to distract everybody. But I don't know. I mean, I guess anything's possible, because this whole thing is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Tony Dodge also took a lot of heat when he had some, they looked like Facebook or maybe Instagram, I don't know, messages that were put on YouTube that showed some joking about gang banging. But to me, it looked like the initial message that came through to him from somebody else that even made reference to this could have been a troll. I mean, I get really bizarre messages. I get more offers of, marriage and everything else, just because, once people see you or, start to feel like they have any kind of back and forth relationship with you, sometimes if they're a little, it can get crazy. You know what I mean? It can be love you, love you, love you, or you know what I mean, like nasty stuff, or just like crazy talk. So it looks to me, it looked like Tony may have just got this troll message. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not sure. But he did then joke about it, it appears. And that kind of really got blown up. I think it got blown out of proportion, but I'm not saying he should have joked about it. But like to me, it looked like that kind of got blown out of proportion, but I don't know. So tell me what you think about all of this. What do you think about Xanamay? Do you think that she really has just found herself caught up in this mess? Do you think she planted herself there on purpose, as been suggested? Do you think that Tony Dodge is some mastermind and somehow involved, or he's covering for people, or he's helping Xanamay cover? Or do you think he was just a regular guy with an up-and-coming channel who just got lucky? Well, I don't know if it's lucky now, but got lucky in the Sammy Smith interview, and then, unfortunately, like sometimes happens in these cases, he just got pulled apart, because then people start to scrutinize everything and start to come up with their own theories about you and, speculate on you. And what do you think? What do you think about Jagger living with Kiely's mother and stepfather, if that's true? There's also all this talk that they may be some kind of cult, like Olive Truckee. I don't know what I think about that yet, but I'm going to do some work on that. And honestly, I said early on in one of my videos, this is giving me Wicker Man vibes, so it's just other people are now picking up on this kind of very strange vibe, of not only the family, but a lot of the community. So I don't know. I'm gonna do some more thinking on that one. But tell me your thoughts on it, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.